Hi everyone, welcome to another video here at the Academy at Chesterfield Golf Club. Lovely to have you along for another one. My name is Warren Bennett. We've got Trev running around somewhere, misbehaving himself. The biggest fault that we see here at the Academy is how this moves away from the ball at the start. So the first 18 inches to 2 feet is so important, and one of the biggest factors of someone not getting sequence and order incorrect is how they start the actual swing itself. So it's having this first move away from the ball is so important, because the way this club moves, because remember this club, let's say, is on this roughly this 45-degree angle here. You really want to try and keep it on plane as best you can. But with this club going so quickly, it always wants to get thrown out with the centrifugal force or centripetal force, whatever it's called. It always wants to get thrown out. So you really want to try and keep it this side of the fence if you can. But remember, if you get flat early doors, and that's one of the biggest no-nos in how to start the process of the golf swing. So getting this swing neutral at the start is so important, because what we really want to see with someone who's, let's say, over the top, and that's a majority of people, majority of club golfers are over the top. What you're looking for the club to stay outside your hands a little bit more. If you throw it behind you, you can see this now, this club has got to get back to the ball by going over the top. Now you can still play good golf doing that, but it's harder to plane it from there, because the club has to get over this side to get down to the ball. So having a golf swing that's looking a little bit more like this will create more power, and it will plane it easier for you, because what the club wants to do under speed is, even if you're a little bit quicker with your shoulders than you should, if the club is working up and down, so up and back behind you, then you can turn as much as you like, because you don't have to fear doing that too much. If the club is rerouting this way, you don't have to fear that, because you don't have to fear it being underneath too much, because all then you have to do is to start pivoting and moving your body. Pivoting is basically just another word for getting your motion, getting your body turning and twisting through the ball. But remember, and we always say with our videos, it's all about trying to blend all these feelings up and just blending all this sequence up, because it is a match of all your legs and arms and body and golf club, and everything's going as one. We're trying to blend all that up and make it as natural as possible. Obviously difficult, but we're trying to keep it as simple as possible for you. So keeping the club outside your hands is a real benefit to make you swing more on plane. If this gets in behind you, then you're probably going to be coming over the top and you've got no feel of where it is. So good little exercise. You don't really have to do this with a driver, but it's going to be a little bit more visually easier for you to see. Is normal grip, normal stance, and then split hand. So the split hand exercise for the takeaway, you really want to try and keep this structure as much as you can the same. So if you roll, because remember, rolling brings the club inside too much, if you roll away from it, you'll really feel it with your hands apart from here. So as soon as you start doing this way, you have more feel of where your hands are. So keeping it split hands, you can see my hands are apart there. If you keep it as one, you can really feel that. And the same as if you do it wrong, you can really feel that even more so. So do a few of these. So back, so remember, you're trying to keep this structure exactly the same as where it starts. So remember, you'd rather be this side of the fence than this side of the fence. So a couple more you can do away from the ball. Go into the ball, hands together into your normal grip, and you're keeping the same feel. And you can really feel, and go in between the two, you can really feel the difference. And you can really sense that kind of your wrist not breaking down. If it feels a bit wooden and a bit weird, that's a good thing, remember, because if you're used to doing this, this is going to feel pretty strange, but that's a good thing, remember. So then the club starts working a little bit more out and around instead of in and over. Okay, because of the Academy here, it's only a warm-up area of about 200 yards, 150, 200 yards. I'm going to start hitting an iron doing this. So remember, same feeling, you can split hand with an iron, so we're really keeping that right hand kind of where it is, We're not dragging it inside. Keep it out in front of you. Remember, you don't want to hit a ball that way, so back to your normal grip, and it's the same thing. You can do a couple of little rehearsals, and I could really feel that club then doing this loop. So it's like a reverse loop if you're suffering from over the top. So remember, you'd rather be out, keeping this club out in front of you instead of behind you. As soon as this club gets behind you too early, it's going to want to get thrown out. Very rarely do we see in the academy a golf swing that gets flat and behind you to even more so on the inside. It's going to want to start doing this. So exaggerate, especially on the range. Don't fear the feeling of this. So the club is out and around and down. Out and around. Okay, let's go. So as soon as you introduce some speed on that, all I have to do now is layer the split hand feeling away from the ball. So as long as you can away from the ball. Look how wide I am with my right arm there. Obviously when I put my hands together, it's going to start bending naturally, but it gives that feeling of width. Now the feeling of width on the way back, especially with a driver, but I'll show you with an iron, the feeling of width because of the split hand. Now that right arm's got somewhere to go. If this hand gets sucked in behind you and the club gets round you too quickly on the inside, the right hand and arm, the right elbow has got nowhere to go apart from over the top. So as much as you want to try and drop it in the slot, you won't, because to create power you have to now get this club back on plane and over the top. So having width, this is a great exercise. Split hand, keep the structure as much as you can, Right, let's keep that width. I'm going to exaggerate that width away from the ball. And I could really feel, it wasn't the greatest shot, a little bit draggy, but I could really feel my hands doing it and my arms doing this. So exaggerated, I'm going wide to narrow, and narrow in a good way. Because now what I'm doing, I'm connecting where my arm's into my body at the right position. My right elbow isn't going and connecting to my body early doors, and then it's got nowhere to grow to create power from there. So I'm really keeping wide away from the ball, wide, and let it come in naturally. That was a better shot. So remember, that creates, and we said it in previous videos, the one thing that solves four things. This one thing of width and structure away from the ball can help you with planing, so getting the club on plane, not over the top or too inside, and it can help you with speed, consistency. It can help you with being able to move more with your body, because remember, it's difficult to keep this passive and to let this catch up, as we know, if you're over the top. It's really difficult to reverse that. But you can get away with being too quick with your body if your club does this and not does that. But remember, the source behind that is being able to keep the structure away from the ball. And the longer you keep that right arm away and out and straighter, the more the club wants to do that. So remember, steep to shallow, without you thinking about it, because that's the secret. Yes, we can do exercises, and here on the channel we always give you those exercises to do, which are really important to kind of check in every time. But under speed on the first tee and out on the golf course, we know that's difficult. Right, so what you're going to do is put the club in a position where it wants to drop. So all you now have to do is start moving. Let's give you a nice one to finish on. Nice and wide, keeping that structure. Let's do a couple of split handers. Okay, there we go. Put your hands together. That's the feeling away from the ball. Nice and wide, nothing's really broken down in my wrist yet. That was the best one of the day so far. So next time you go to the range, give that a go as best you can. Remember, anything different, if it feels different, that's a good thing, because that means you're changing. But stick with it. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more you do it and the more you repeat this, the more natural it becomes. So from myself and Trev, wherever he is, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.